Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by Ron Sloan, Jr., Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, and a lot of other cool things. It's nice to have you here.
Nasty Neal. Well, let's
Nasty
talk
Neal.
about that one. Nasty.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It was given to me by R.A. Mihailoff, who played Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw 3D. He called me Nasty Neal, and I liked it, so I stuck with it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Some of my
good.
friends, my friend Annabelle, she says, you're not nasty. You should call yourself Sweet Neal, which is very nice, but I don't think it really works for the show.
Well, yeah. Hey, well, I'll let you know at the end of the show.
Fair enough. Yeah, hopefully you don't hang up or anything during the show.
Well, I'll see you. Bye.
So I assume this is a busy time of the year for you.
Yeah, for sleeping. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I guess Friday the 13th could come at any time, but
Oh yeah, Friday. Oh yeah, that Friday.
Right.
Yeah, no, it is a busy time. It's fun. I do have I always have a good time on Friday the 13th.
Yeah. When did you know that, like, I assumed like you always knew Friday the 13th movies have a following, but when did you like really know that people really like Friday the 13th Part 5 and like you could, people come see you at conventions and things like that?
Actually, it was on my first convention because I truly had no clue. I was living in Hawaii, and so I was disconnected from the whole Friday the 13th Hollywood scene, except for an occasional, well, of course I talked about it with friends and clients and whatnot, but it was when I got a call to do a convention, and my very first convention, and I'm sitting there with Carol Locatell, mom, and a guy walked up with a leather flight cap on and a dirty sweatshirt, and he was about 6'8", and I went, "Oh my God, you're Junior." I was honored that the guy dressed like me. So that kind of blew my mind, and that's when the lights came on.
Yeah. What did you expect when you were first called up to do convention? What did you think was what did you think was going to be like?
Oh, I had no real clue. I mean, I had been to like a Comic-Con, so on the big end you're thinking that sort of thing, but then you think, well, no, it was like, no, I don't know. I didn't expect, I didn't want to like anticipate anything huge. I thought more of I was going to this to enjoy it and look at all the other folks. It was like a reunion from Part 5. So I hadn't seen all those guys. Oh my God, this was about 18 years ago. So it was cool, man. It was just old home week, seeing, John Shepard and Mel and Shavar and Miguel. And Dick William was there. We just had a blast. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, and now you see him too much, maybe. No, not too much, but you see him a lot
never,
since then. Yeah.
Never. It's actually, it's a good thing. I mean, I don't do that many conventions. I'm good for a couple a year, unless more people want me. Put it out there. Okay, make a request. But yeah, it's actually a very fun time, a special time when I do that.
Yeah. And so you had not stayed in touch with most of the people, except for like Carol, your mom, who I know you do a lot of conventions with, and you're close to now. So you didn't stay in touch with her over.
No, Carol and I were friends ever since. Yeah, and I would back then. It started by calling her up on Mother's Day.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Always called her. Always to this day, call her on Mother's Day. I have fun with Carol and her husband, Greg. It's my wife and I just enjoy their company. And matter of fact, we drove all the way to LA and had dinner with them.
Oh, very cool.
It was really wonderful. And it's always fun. I mean, I just have great experiences with Carol. I can share one quick one with you.
Yeah, of course.
We were in a convention in Chicago, Flashback Weekend. And Carol's husband was really good friends with Nick Castle, who played Michael Myers, right? And so after the first night of the convention, Carol goes, "Oh, we're going out to dinner with a friend of Greg's." Oh, cool. It was Nick. I was like, "Oh, this is just too cool." Yeah. And I did not bring up even one bit of industry anything, even though my mind was going like 3,000 miles an hour, wanting to talk to him about it. I mean, the guy, he is awesome. And actually, I just saw him a couple of weeks ago in Spookala. That was Ocala, Florida. It was right before Christmas. It was cool, man. It was just fun.
Yeah, I've met him at a convention. One time, my booth was right next to his. So they put the Without Your Head booth, which means it sounds cool, but it also means no one at all is going to talk to me. But he's a very down to earth, just a really laid back, cool guy.
Yeah, he is really down to earth. Good guy.
Yeah. So, so you said you wanted to ask him stuff. So, are you a horror movie fan?
No, it was just the idea of just listening. He's
involved in not just horror movies, involved in lots
everything.
of
everything. No, I kept it neutral, and I just keep it on that level anyway. I mean, a lot of these times when you're with these folks, it's their downtime. You don't want to.
Yeah.
It's more of like, hey, are you going on any trips? What are you doing for fun?
Yeah.
It's just getting to know somebody, basically. Right.
So, from what I understand, you didn't know that when you first got involved in Friday the 13th Part 5, that it was a Friday the 13th movie.
No, because it was called Repetition. My script, and I still have it with my little notes in it for my acting, is called Repetition. And it wasn't until the first day of shooting that we're all sitting on the set, and the conversation. I'm sitting with Miguel and Carol and everybody, and like I remember turning to Miguel and going, so how do you die? Just kidding around.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh man, I'm in an outhouse and I get like killed by all these spears," and I go, "Well, I get decapitated," And so we're just talking, and Tom Morga walks by in full jumpsuit with the mask, and he just looks cold stare. Well, with the mask, it's always a cold stare at every single one of us, and he's holding up a blade, and we're all, "Oh my God, we're in a Friday the 13th." And I mean, we were all excited first day of shooting anyway, but it took it up to like Class A, man. We were just like, oh my, I mean, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah. So what was the killer called in the script?
That's a good point.
Maybe they just called him the killer. I don't know. Yeah.
I'll have to look back at the script. No one's ever asked me that question. That's a good point.
Yes. Yeah, I'm interested.
I'll text you on that one.
Yeah.
Now I gotta find that damn script. I'm sure it's hidden away.
Yeah.
In a safe and secure place, in Norway or something.
Right. So, maybe it's a weird question, but how close is the character Junior to you?
Oh yeah, we're identical. No. Let me wipe my mouth while I say that. No, I would say Junior is pretty far away from Ron Sloan, but deep in his heart, No, Junior was actually a character I came up with. For a quick story, I used to do a showcase on, I think it was Thursday nights at the Fountain Theater in Hollywood. And at these showcases, there would be, producers, casting directors, agents. And I mean, I did it religiously every week. Oh my God, probably for a couple of years. And one night, Pamela Basker and Fern Champion were there. And they were the ones who casted Friday the 13th, Part 5. So after doing my dramatic scene, Pam asked me, she goes, "Can you play a hillbilly?" And I was a big old boy back then. I mean, I was tipping 245 pounds. I'm all about 175 right now. So I said, "Yes, I can." I go, "Give me a moment." And I thought about this friend of my brother's who was this goofy character that used to bug the crap out of my brother. And so I started doing his mannerisms and his personality, but threw it into more of a hick.
Uh-huh.
And these guys were laughing their ass off. They were it got me an audition. And they told me to come by the next day to pick up the sides for a movie called Repetition. And I did, brought him home. And I had an audition the following day. And I mean, I was excited, man. I was like cloud nine. But, it's nerve-wracking. It's scary. Up until then, I did a good handful of TV commercials and little bit parts on shows. I mean, like one-liners or under fives on some of the Norman Lear shows, like Different Strokes, Facts of Life, even All in the Family.
Oh, right.
I mean, awesome shows, but I mean, microscopic roles.
Right.
And so I just had fun with this. I went in there just being a goofy, dumb shit, man. I figured the beauty of Junior is there are no holds barred. He is not formatted in, you got to fit in this type of, I could do anything I want to do. And if it works, it works. And, see what sticks. So, yeah, apparently it worked.
Yeah. So how much of so you kind of came up with the character, how much of it was, I know your lines of script and stuff, but how much like direction did they give you on Junior? Was he really kind of your creation?
Oh, no. Junior and just like Carol's character were our creations. I mean, every actor, truly, their character is their creation. What they do within the script, that what a director wants to accomplish with this instrument is truly what comes up, and that's somewhat up to the director. Most actors have a lot of freedom. I mean, you did something right to get the part, and you want to keep that going. With Junior and Ethel, yes, there were scripted lines, but we are also allowed to improvise. If something was funny, we could run with it, whether it's Carol flipping the bird off at the, or I mean, we're allowed to do whatever we want to do. If something didn't work, and this is in all acting, if something doesn't work, then you do it again. If you can, if, there's no time restriction, but we had a wonderful freedom because Carol and I had a wonderful chemistry, and to this day we still do.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a blast, man.
So when did you first meet Carol? Like, did you get to go over the roles together before you start filming?
God, that's a good question. We may have. I'm trying to think if there. I think there was a table read. A lot of times in a film, you'll do a table read where you talk to everybody. With Carol and I, to tell you honestly, I don't, and I don't want to say it's a senior moment, but I truly don't remember meeting her before shooting. We all got early. I mean, I always come early on a set, no matter what my call time is. I want to see blocking and see stuff and be familiar. And I remember, don't forget when you shoot something, it's not in chronological order. Mm-hmm. So you could be shooting the final scene that day, So you do get a schedule, a shooting schedule. So you're definitely boned up on your lines. And I just remember going out to Camarillo, Santa Rosa Canyon, and meeting with her that first day, meeting the whole cast. It's almost like a meet and greet, and running lines with her on location. Mm-hmm. And also, while other people are doing their acting, their parts, we'd be running lines and getting ideas. We can do this here, you do that there, but it wasn't rocket science. We weren't reciting the Bible word for word, so right. We had a lot of freedom, and it was just comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was the director like, Danny?
I personally had a great experience with Danny Steinman. When I auditioned for the part and I busted Danny up, he was laughing his ass off. And as I left, he said, "It's really going to be great to work with you, kid." And I was just like blown away. Don't get caught up in this. You haven't gotten the part yet, but it sure sounds like it. Yeah. And then on my callback, Danny said the same thing to Frank Mancuso Jr. He said, "This is the kid I told you about. I'm going to love working with him." So from day one, he's on my top hit list of awesome people. And then on the set, he was really reinforcing with Carol and I, "Hey guys, it's kind of like, whatever you guys want to do, but this is what I want to accomplish. Let's see what you guys got." And he was laughing. He threw in some tweaks and ideas and things. Absolutely. We didn't come up with, 100%, but we came up with a really good foundation. Mm-hmm. And I had nothing but a great experience with Danny. I know some actors didn't, but everybody's different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've interviewed people who didn't especially have a great experience, but like you said, it's everyone has their own experience. Now I see a lot of cool stuff here behind you.
Uh-oh, look out.
I see Jason. I see. I thought it was a junior puzzle, but it's not a puzzle.
No, it's actually an original painting.
Oh, really? That's very cool.
Yeah, the artist is Neal Warner. He used to paint up at Universal City Walk. Dear buddy of mine,
and a great
animator.
First name.
Yeah, great first name. Even spelled the same.
Oh, really?
Oh man, good, then, yeah. There's only two of you in the world. No, real talented guy, and he said, "Hey man, I want to paint your portrait." And I went, he did it from the video cover.
Oh, so that's wild, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It was very cool.
Is that the original severed head, or is
yes, it is.
Oh, it is. Oh, wow, that's really wild.
It is the original head. It goes to all the conventions I go to, and the beauty is everybody who takes a picture with me gets to hold the sacred head. It's getting a little abused, but so am I. So,
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know VC Dupree from Part 8. He brings his severed head around too. So that would be a cool a photo op if you could get the two headless guys together.
Wow, that would be good.
Yeah, exactly. So what was it like? Well, first of all, to get your head molded. Had you ever done anything like that before?
Oh no, that was a freaking nightmare, man. For me in particular. It was not a pleasant experience, only because I have my mouth open.
Right. I didn't
because I'm screaming. Yeah, it's one thing if your mouth's closed and you got little straws in your nose to breathe. Yeah. But when your mouth is open and all that goop is all over your face and dripping in your mouth, and they're doing the little vacuum like at the dentist, but it's clogging like crazy. You're gagging on this crap. I had to hold that position for a long time. It seemed like an eternity. So, and it's ice cold when they do it, so you get a margarita headache right away. And then they wrap you up in gauze, almost like same as making a cast for a broken arm. And what was nice about being wrapped in the gauze was it was warm.
Right.
You go from headache to, oh yeah, that feels good, to that's hot. Oh man. And so after it's all set and done, they take an air saw, same way as cutting off the cast on the arm, and it sounds like it's going through your head, going through the plaster, and they cut it in half. Well, the guy opened it up, and he goes, "Oh, no." He goes, "I'm sorry, but I think we're going to have to do this again." And I go, "No, you better make that work, man. I'm not doing this again."
Yeah.
Of course, they made it work, and he probably tells every actor that same line
Right.
just to
run
get
a
them.
joke. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And how about when you actually see the finished head then? The actual severed head.
I do have a picture of it. Matter of fact, I have it with Shavar and Tiffany during wardrobe back then. And it was in great shape. They had photographed my eyes and made perfect glass eyes. A mold of my teeth. It was perfect. And it was freaky. The freakiest part though about that head and experience I had was in my death scene when Jason comes out from behind the tree and cuts my head off. Mm-hmm. Well, I am screaming, and then that's when it happens. So they needed to do what was called ADR, it's sound looping after the things have been put together. They needed me to be screaming. And so I got to watch my head get cut off. It was in black and white at the time. I get to see it get cut off and roll down a hill. And it looked up at camera. The eyes locked. It just happened with camera. And it was like, holy shit. That was freaky, man. That was crazy. But that didn't pass the censors at the time because it was too scary. Mm-hmm. And that footage has been destroyed.
I was going to ask about that because now, like with digital, you can save everything, but on film, a lot of that stuff's not saved.
Well, it's not just that. For whatever reason, because Danny Steinman wanted to do a recut, a re-edit, and they had different footage, and he wanted to add that. He was telling me, and he said Paramount destroyed all the footage.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought, that's crazy, man. But it had to do with censorship and all that back then. Sad.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's a perfect show for you without your head. Station decapitation.
That's true.
Were you disappointed not to see the head rolling down did you know before you saw the finished movie or
no, and it was, the whole movie was great anyway. So for me, there was a little disappointment. Oh man, they cut it out. That was incredible. That kind of crap. Mm-hmm. But
how did you end up with the head? Did they just give it to you, or?
Well, indirectly. It was a couple years later. I had an audition at Las Palmas Studios for a game show. Again, it goes back, I think, into the 1975 or something. I was on the dating game, trying to find that one. And I won the date with Miss Mexico City, but that's another story, another time.
Very cool.
In the same production company, which was the guys that did the Gong Show and Chuck Barris Productions. So I was called for another show to do, and I saw their sign that said Real Effects, and they were the guys that made my head. So I thought, I'll see if I can buy it. So after my audition, I knocked on the door, and this guy answers, and I go, "It's a stupid question, man, but I was in Friday the 13th, Part 5. I played Junior, and you guys made my head, and I was wondering if I could buy it from you." Yeah. And the guy started cracking up. And he goes, "Dude, your head's been working more than you have." Like, what? He goes, "I'm sorry to say, but we shot you in the back of the head last week." And he goes, "Follow me." And I walked. It was like going to Costco, man, for horror. Yeah. There were shelves of body parts and dinosaurs. And we're talking row after row of this stuff. And I guess it was alphabetical order, because up on a real high shelf, he gets on a ladder, and there's Sylvester Stallone from Rambo. Like when he comes out of the water, he's like screaming, and my head's sitting next to Sly. So he grabs it, shows it to me, and it was beat up. I mean, there's a big hole in the back of my head. All the hair was gone. Yeah. Eyebrows, sideburns, everything gone. And he takes it, hands it to me, he puts it in a bag, and he goes, "Here, man, just take it." I was like, "Whoa, that's fantastic." I was all excited. Yeah. As I leave, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was shooting, I believe, True Lies at the time. He was in this big old terry cloth bathrobe, smoking a big cigar and standing there. And I'm walking past him. There was part of me that really wanted to introduce myself and meet him.
Yeah, of course.
And then I thought, dude, you got a head in the bag. And I don't know how kosher this was, but just time to go. You know? So that's how I got it.
I love it. Did you ever try to track down the movies that your head was used in, like where you get shot?
Never even thought about that. Man, you're coming up with good questions.
Well, I appreciate that.
Oh, who knows? You know, because
I don't know if it's possible, but it would be cool if you could find these things. And
that would be funny. Actually, they owe me residuals. That's my likeness. Hey, wait a minute, I can make millions here.
Yeah, I am curious what kind of movie where they're shooting a severed head. These are pretty bad dudes.
Wait, it could be in a porno. I could be in trouble. So now I don't know.
Yeah, he said shot, but who knows?
Whoa,
what's going on here? Yeah. So had you ever ridden did you have experience riding a motorcycle? Before playing
I had an audition riding a motorcycle. Actually, luckily, I did a little street riding, not a lot. I did mostly kind of dirt bike. Friends of mine owned a couple Yamaha Enduros, 250 and I think 450s. And we had fun. I wasn't exactly graceful, but no, we had fun. And so when I got on the set, there was a wonderful stuntman, Gene LaBelle.
Oh,
he was a wrestler, Gene.
Yeah. Because I also do a pro wrestling podcast, oddly enough. But yeah, so I know a lot of people who were trained by Judo Gene LaBelle.
He is a great guy. And so he put me through my paces. I had to ride like through these orange orchards and avocado orchards out in Camarillo. And Dick Warlock, who was the stunt coordinator, had to make sure I knew what the hell I was doing. Kind of a little after the fact, because I'm already on the set. They asked me if I knew how to write, and I said yes. Yeah. But not all actors tell the truth.
Right. Yeah. My co-host Trista on the show is an actress in LA, and so one time I was asked to do if I could do BTS on a movie, and I actually didn't even know what it meant. And I just said, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever." And so I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, behind the scenes, I can do that." And she told me, she said, "This is advice for anything in the movies. Just lie and say you can do it." I was like, "Okay."
No, sometimes you might be able to get away with, I guess, but there's some things you just can't.
Right.
Can you ride a horse? I've ridden a horse. Would I fall off? More than likely. No, it's fun. Yeah. It was fun.
Is there anything you had to learn? Maybe not for junior, but for any kind of acting where you had to learn specifically for it?
I mean, for Friday the 13th,
or for any role or any type of film
yeah. I mean, my resume is pretty extensive as far as training. Oh God, this goes back into the 70s, man. I mean, I studied method acting, the Stanislavski method, with an actor who you could look up on IMDb, Grant Williams. Grant Williams was the Incredible Shrinking Man.
Oh, yeah, I'm a fan of the movie.
Yeah, man, that was an awesome movie. Grant has passed away, sadly. And so I studied 3 years with him. I studied Will Geary. Do you remember Grandpa Walton, TV's Walton's Mountain?
I know the show, but I actually never watched it. But yeah.
Well, he has this currently, even to this day. Will died back in the 70s, I think 76. his daughter, Ellen Gear, wonderful actress. They run the theater in Topanga Canyon, California. It's a Shakespearean repertory company. So for 3 years, I got to do Shakespeare, study Shakespeare. And also, I mean, a number of teachers. I mean, I didn't stop. I had improv, comedy improv with Harvey Lembeck. Harvey was in Steve McQueen movie, The Great Escape.
Oh, yeah.
So in The Great Escape, there's this big, tall, kind of oafy kind of guy and a little short Italian guy. And Harvey was a little short Italian guy. But his background is comedy. He was on an old TV show in the 50s called Phil Silvers. And actually his son, to this day, very famous director, Michael Lembeck, did a lot of Norman Lear stuff. His daughter, Helene Lembeck, I studied with. And Harvey was amazing. Robin Williams and John Ritter were in the class, the senior class. I was in the junior class with Scott Baio, Rick Dees from KISS FM. I mean, we all had a blast. And Harvey passed away, and Al Molinaro, Big Al from Happy Days,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know.
took over the class, teaching the class. So here, another couple years of doing comedy, improv. I mean, I was really trying to, just learn it all and be ready for what comes up.
Yeah. Do you still do any like improv or comedy stuff?
Or are you kidding? That's the toughest stuff in the world. People think comedy's easy. Phew. I mean, yes, I would do it in a situation if I had the opportunity. I mean, again, improv and comedy takes a certain mindset. I mean, you got to be thinking constant. There's no, I mean, you think constantly anyway, but you're taking it to the level of not just doing something, but how do I make this funny? How do I get him to laugh? What can I do to, Robin Williams was a master at that. You'd be laughing and smiling at Robin just seeing his face.
Yeah, I've said on the show before, there's exceptions, but comedians who transition and do dramatic roles, I think, are much more successful than dramatic actors who try out to do comedy. There's exceptions, but for the most part.
No, that's true. I mean, that's very true. I mean, Jim Carrey, he crosses over well.
Yeah, and Robin Williams did. And
oh my God, Robin was amazing, man. But comedy can be the loneliest place on earth. Well, I said that, Michael Winslow from Police Academy, the black actor who does all the sounds and noise, right? Well, Mike and I and Katie Seagal, we all worked at a restaurant called Poppy Star in Sherman Oaks, California. And Mike at the time was a busboy, Katie was a maitre d', and I was a bartender. And the premise of the restaurant was you had to sing, dance, or perform and entertain the audience at some point during the evening. And Mike would get up and actually do what he does, man. And Cheech and Chong were there one night, and they discovered Mike. And he was in it was like Up in Smoke or one of those movies. And then it led into the Police Academy films. And he became a big star. And Katie, I mean, oh my God, Married with Children, Sons of Anarchy. Mm-hmm. And me, well, I just get my head cut off in Friday the 13th. I do have a great role in 13 Fanboy, but I had Deborah on, Deborah Voorhees, who made it. And so I assumed you met her at conventions. And so how did the role come about? Yeah, well, that's actually how the role came about. We were at, where was it? Horror Hound Weekend in Columbus, Ohio. And Deborah and I decided to take a walk before the convention. She's a healthy girl. She likes getting her exercise. So she was like, do you want to go for a walk? Well, in my mind, going for a walk is, we'll go take a walk and talk. And she believed in cardio.
Right.
And so we're walking, and talking. That's even tougher. You get out of breath that way. And we walked for quite a while. And she goes, I wrote you a part in a small part in a film, and I'd be honored if you play it. And I was like, well, of course. Well, it was about a year and a half later, I get a script emailed to me. And at the time, I was on like 26 pages of a 97-page script. I'm like, wow. And I call her up. I go, I'm not complaining, but you said it was a small part. And she goes, well, the more I got to know you, the bigger your part grew.
Oh, that's very cool.
So that was amazing. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was... Yeah, what a blast.
Yeah, and I told her in the interview, because after I watched it, I was like, oh, Ron and Dee Wallace have a lot of chemistry. And I was like, are they actually, because I wasn't sure. I was just like, are they really married? Maybe that's why they're cast as a couple. So I actually Googled. I was like, oh no, they're with different people. But right away though, I thought you and Dee Wallace have a lot of chemistry together in the movie.
It was beautiful, man. I mean, look, I've been lucky in my acting career. There's overall good positive experiences, but Dee, right from the start, I came in a day early. I actually drove in to the location because I knew I'd be there for a few weeks. I wanted to have a car. And there was like a party going on for everybody, a meet and greet. Mm-hmm. And I walked in, I saw Dee, and I introduced myself. Dee, I'm Ron Sloan. I'm your husband. And she goes, well, I better get to know you if I'm going to sleep with you. I was like, whoa, See, those scenes are not in the movie.
Oh, really?
If you go on my IMDb page, mm-hmm. under my demo reel, there is a bedroom scene with Dee and I together. I had a couple of scenes that aren't in the movie that were sweet and loving. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah.
And those weren't destroyed, like your head rolling down there.
No. They might be after tonight, but no.
So, but yeah. Unfortunately, Deborah said a lot of the movie was inspired by a couple bad experiences she had with like kind of stalkery fans. It seems like you've had good experience, and she had mostly good experiences. But have you ever had any bad experiences with any kind of fans?
It goes back to Deborah's experience. I was at that same convention.
Oh, really?
Well, the way it happened for me was I was out in the parking lot leaving, and a fan came up to me. And he said, wouldn't it be cool if you died in real life the way you died in your movie? That was my first convention. And I was like, no, man, have a good day. See ya.
I don't want to laugh. It's just so like crazy to think someone would think that's an okay thing to ask anybody.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little bizarre. No, I've only had one other experience where the guy was drunk. And shit happens, and hey, I didn't want to deal with him at all. See ya. But that was about it. No, overall, the fans, 99.999%. Oh my God, they're wonderful. They make me feel good. I mean, truly feel good. And I mean, I just had a great experience in Florida. This little kid, I mean, we're talking, he had to be maybe 7, 8 years old. He's in a Michael Myers costume. Uh-huh. And he kept walking by my table and just looking, doing that dead cold stare and walking by. Yeah. And he'd come back, stare at me, and walk by. I'm like, I'm thinking, you should go right across from me is Nick. You need to be doing this to Nick. And he kept on going back and forth. And then finally, he walked up with his mom. And his mom goes, can he get your autograph? And I go, I'd be happy. He just cracked me up. And he ended up taking off his mask. And I mean, he was just adorable. That was just So cute. I told my wife all about it, and she cracked up. Because he did this cold stare where if you had a little junior Michael Myers, oh my God, that is pretty scary.
I love it. That's very cute.
That kind of stuff's fun.
Yeah. So I want to ask about Melanie Kinnaman because I'm friends with her and she's in the movie. Did you have much? Were you around her much when you're making the movie?
Actually, Mel and I became pretty good friends on the film. It was kind of funny. You see, at the time I made Friday the 13th, I was working in casting. I was a videographer. I was a shooter. So you would audition for me. I would shoot your screen test. I worked for all the top casting directors in Hollywood, Sheila Manning. Even Ridley Scott and his brother in casting. Sometimes I was the cameraman for these guys. And I did that for a good few years. So mostly everybody had auditioned for me. So when I got on the set, I knew all these guys from coming in. I worked for a company called Baker Nesbitt. It was in Beverly Hills. And actually, Mark Vittorini, who played Vic, we were pretty good friends. And John Robert Dixon, oh my God, I knew all these cats. And so Mel auditioned a good few times for me. I knew who she was and just kind of refreshed her memory. And actually, one night I actually gave her a ride home after she was like meeting her boyfriend. I can't remember his name now. Famous guy.
Oh, okay.
And Nick somebody. You guys will have to look that one up. And everybody seemed to be kind of a family.
Yeah. And what was the reaction like to the movie when it first came out?
Well, I was on a blind date. That wasn't a good reaction. This girl kept on looking at me like I was junior. I'm like, wow, is he really like that? There wasn't the second date, I'll tell you that. But no, I think everybody overall was excited. For me, that was the first time I had ever seen myself on the big screen. Mm-hmm. But I was a big boy. And so that made me even look bigger. And, I know with some of the girls, it's probably the first time they've ever seen themselves topless on the big screen.
Right.
You're hearing all sorts of, murmurs in the audience.
Yeah.
So it was a cool experience, man.
Excuse me. But I think the movie, because there were some hardcore fans who don't like it necessarily because at the time, because you have the fake Jason. But I think over the years, it's really it's got a bigger. I think it's got a bigger fan base than it ever has.
I never even understood that part, to tell you honestly, because look at the movie opens up. You see Corey Feldman. You see these guys, and the real Jason comes out of the grave and kills the two guys. It wasn't Dick Wheat. It was the real Jason.
Right.
So ding, 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 real Jason. Now going on into the movie, sure, it's a copycat killing, which I thought was a good turnaround.
I think it's actually, I think it's one of the better. I actually, I think it's one of the better sequels.
Well, it makes it. Thank you. It makes it real. When you have a real serial killer, like in 13 Fanboy,
right?
It's not a mythical monster that lives forever. Mm-hmm. It's a real serial killer. So to me, that's actually more scary. Yeah, we all like getting scared and being on the edge of our seats. But the idea of holy, that's real. That's a trip, man.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it's like Halloween 3 because, it didn't have Michael Myers. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but both of them over the years, I think, seems like most people like them now.
Well, it becomes a franchise. You're not going to buy the complete edition missing
right,
part 3 or part 5.
Right,
you're going to buy the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like that too about, because not all franchises are like this, but Friday the 13th up to, probably, I guess, all the original ones you could watch in a row, and they tell one long story.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. It's kind of interesting because I think ours was the first one with explicit nudity. Danny Steinman came from porn movies, in a sense.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. But yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, he had some, I don't want to say porn, but let's just say, yeah, it's not your regular family feature that you'd see on the Hallmark channel.
Yeah.
So, he had that experience, and he took, I can't think of any of the other movies really that much nudity before part 5.
No, I think, now I think about it, I think you're right. There's a lot more topless scenes in part 5. Maybe the only topless scenes. Now I think about it. Up until that point. So that's weird though. I
kept my clothes on though, Neal. I just want you to know I kept my clothes on.
All right, fair enough. I'm keeping
that scene got cut out. That scene got cut out,
and it was destroyed. Right.
And the one with Ethel and the chicken got cut out. So
what was in her stew?
You don't want to know, man. Actually, I have a can of the stew here right now. It's behind you.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
It's mystery meat. So, do you really want to know what was in it?
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's a good question. It started out as Campbell's chicken noodle soup and ended up at the caterer, the craft services. I have no idea what the hell they put in that, but it wasn't like the tastiest ice cold thing in the world.
Right. I guess,
me slobbering it and spitting it out really wasn't much of an acting challenge, I didn't really want to eat that crap take after take, so it was good getting rid of it. It was all over my clothes, everything.
Yeah. Now, are you working on anything currently?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to say I'm sworn to secrecy. I just can't give away anything great. But I just worked on my first fan film. Actually, Vince DeSante is involved in it. He's producing it. Cecil Laird directed it. And Nico Hughes.
Oh, very cool. That's from Pet Cemetery, right?
Pet Cemetery. And he was the little kid in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, yeah. Part, is it 5?
7?
I'm going to say.
7? Maybe 7? I don't know.
I'm not sure. It's one of those. It's with the... Yeah, I know.
The new Nightmare.
Oh, New Nightmare. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Miko is involved in this. He is the star of the film. And I got to work with him. We had a great scene together. And I play a casting director, oddly enough, a little experience. And it's Dave McCrae. I think I'm allowed to say this stuff. Oh wait, maybe I'm not. Can't remember what I think it is. I think it is out there. No, it's out there. It's out there. He plays Freddy Krueger.
Oh, very cool. So, what do you think of this whole the rise of fan films?
Well, this is the first one I've done, and I had such a wonderful experience. There's another one in the works for me. I said yes to a couple days ago.
All right, very cool. Well, when that one comes out, maybe we can do part 2. We'll talk.
Well, Dylan's New Nightmare. The trailer will be out in March. It comes out on YouTube in May. So once the trailer comes out, then I can have the freedom to talk more about it. I have some very cool pictures. I have not seen any of my scenes. I saw one scene after my scene that was pretty freaking awesome, man. I was like, whoa. And I learned a few things that I never knew in the horror world. And you might know this with fan films. The term Easter egg.
Right.
I never knew that. I mean,
there's a little hidden thing in the movie.
Well, there's different things that are hidden. I don't think they did that in any of the Friday the 13th. maybe it's just in fan films to refer to the original movie.
Mm.
Like, for example, if I was wearing glasses and they were red on top and green on the bottom, red and green, that would be Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's little subtle hints.
Yeah. No, that's very fun, especially because, they're made for like real hardcore horror fans, so that they're going to pick up on these little things.
And these guys look for all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I never knew that. So there are definitely Easter eggs in Dylan's New Nightmare. And just to let you guys know, I don't know how many of your listeners are in California or Nevada or surrounding areas, but I'm going to be at CreepyCon in Ontario, California next month, 4th and 5th, with the head and Ethel Stu, and maybe even Ethel.
Oh, very nice.
Maybe.
Yeah.
She lives about an hour from there, so we may drag her in for a time.
Well, that sounds very fun. I'll share the link.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's going to be a good one. It's supposed to be huge. Yeah. So it's my first West Coast appearance. And here I grew up there.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be very fun. Where are you? You don't have to tell me your house, like your address, but where are you located?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
All right. I was just wondering if
it seems like a lot of people figure that out. No, I live in northern Arizona.
Oh, okay. So I was just wondering how far away it was for you.
I live where it snows and it's cold. We have 4 seasons.
All right. Well, I'm in Massachusetts, so yeah, I know about.
Well, you have really 4 seasons. Ours are weenie compared to you.
Yeah, and I'm sure someone's listening and way up in Canada who think we're all wimps. So it's all relative.
I have family up there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And where can people, again, not follow you to your home, but where can people follow you to see what you're up to?
I don't really. I mean, mostly it's Facebook stuff. I have an Instagram, but I've never used it. I mean, I get all these people are sending me stuff, and I haven't used it. I mean, I have a normal job.
Yeah.
I've been a fine art consultant.
Oh, really?
Director for 25 years. So I'm very fortunate. I get to occasionally tour with Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, wow.
I sell his art on the road, and his proceeds goes to charity. So I've done that for many years. I haven't done it probably for 3 or 4 years now. I don't know if Tony, I think his next show might be in Maui, and they don't need me there. I lived there for 17 years, so they have their own consultants there. But our paths may cross again.
Yeah,
he's a cool guy. He's amazing.
Do you do art yourself?
Oh, hell no, man. I like to eat. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I mean, my whole family are artists. My parents were both artists. My dad was an amazing artist, and my brothers are very, very good artists, and my mom too. But I never really tried. I have an artistic ability. I mean, I used to make jewelry when I was in college. I had a little shop. I made rings and bracelets and lost wax casting and that stuff. But that's an art. But as far as painting, I mean, my talent goes as far as painting rocks with my wife with little happy faces and gnomes and stuff like that. I mean, we do actually paint rocks. We'll go on a hike and leave a stone or two on the trail or just off the trail for someone to find. She loves doing inspirational messages on the stones. That's pretty cool. You're out in the middle of nowhere.
That is very cool. Someone does that in my town, and I see him on my walks because I walk around town, and then I'll see him every once in a while laying around, which I think is very cool.
And I mean, I think it's special because you can be out there walking because you're depressed or you're happy or whatever. You come across this and go, whoa. We actually planted one. We were up in the aspen trees up in Snow Bowl, Flagstaff, Arizona. My wife put one way. I hide mine. pretty much. You really have to be doing something to find them. And she put one out in this like overlook way out, and we see a guy walking the trail. And she goes, he's going to find this. I go, no, he's not going to find it. And all of a sudden you see him kind of walk, look, bend down. You see him pick it up. We're like, cool, this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little inspiration.
Yeah, there was a shell I found, and it had on the back it was the Instagram address, and it said to like take a picture of it and tag it and then go hide it somewhere else for someone else to find.
That's
which I thought was kind of cool. And then that you could follow,
that's a very cool idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And I have to give her a shout out because she painted this for Christmas. This is my friend Annabelle painted me this. It's
whoa.
It's
whoa.
Anthony Perkins from
Psycho. Yeah, no, I recognize it.
Yeah.
That was a scary movie.
Yes, yeah. I'm a big fan of the old Psycho and all the black and white horror movies.
But see, that's the level of scary I'm talking about as far as real.
Right.
I mean, you're talking a real killer, a real, not a mythical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something that could happen.
Oh my God, to me, that's scary shit.
Yeah, yeah, right. Because if you're watching with a ghost or whatever it is, some big monster, and it might be fun to watch, but the odds of you walking out, oh, there's a big monster that's going to attack me, it's probably not going to happen. But there could be someone who looks like a normal person who's going to do something.
Yeah, or even I love sci-fi though. If you depict, for me, sci-fi horror in a sense, like The Thing. And actually, the first thing, that was scary. I remember as a little kid watching it. But the one with Kurt Russell, oh my God, Wilford Brimley, and yeah.
I've got the Thing board game down here, which is actually
you're kidding.
Good. Yeah. But that's one of my favorites too. When I was a kid, I loved it for all the creatures. And then as I get older, like there's so much more to the movie. And I think that's why it appeals to like such a big audience, because there's you could watch it as just like the weird visuals, but there's a lot of paranoia in the movie. The cast is amazing. It's kind of everything about it, I think, works.
It was right on the money. There was no weak links. There was no unbelievable. It was like, alien stuff is scary.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie Aliens, holy shit, definitely, that was scary.
Yeah. And what I like about The Thing is not that I don't like a guy in a big suit. I think that's cool too. But the alien in The Thing is so alien. It's so weird. So definitely from some, not something you would just think of because, transform. So I like that about the movie because you don't always.
Yeah, it's metamorphic. It's changing and creepy.
Yeah. Are you a horror movie fan in general or?
No.
Yeah. Interviews.
Actually. I shouldn't say that. I like the old horror films when I was younger. I did watch Friday the 13th and Halloween. Yeah. Is it something that I had to watch or no, it was more during that time of year. I was definitely a big sci-fi fan. I mean, I went to most of the first nights of Star Wars and my cousin's uncle, how's that happen? My cousin's uncle was on Star Trek every now and then, so he would do conventions.
Oh, really?
It was cool. As over the last 20 years, yes. Because meeting all these cats.
Yeah, then you have to go watch your movies. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool, and a lot of these everybody I've met has been pretty much down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Hathaway. From Never Ending Story.
Oh, yeah.
Noah had a booth next to me, and we did SuperCon, which was for charity. And nice guy. I mean, we clicked, man. I know we're just from that convention, we're friends. And you familiar with Ken Kurtzinger?
Yeah, the name's if I saw the person, but I definitely know the name.
Yeah. What was the Friday the 13th with the blue mask?
So he played Jason, and yeah, I actually am on the show, so I should have known that. But yeah.
Yeah, shame on you. I stumped you, man. I stumped you. Anyway, Ken and I got to hang out in this last convention. Yeah, we had we shared a ride and then we had breakfast. Good guy, really good guy. He's from Canada. Shout out to him, definitely. And I love this kind of stuff, man. You know, the conventions just bring it all close as a family. Mm-hmm. You know, we all have a common bond. That's what's cool about it.
Yeah, that's similar to what I say in the show, because when you're at the conventions, you know, I think people might think all horror fans, they all just wear black and they're covered in tattoos also, but it's all different people, and everyone shares the same love of the genre, and it's a very accepting crowd, both the fans and people who make the movies and the actors.
Yeah, the crowd's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, it's nice being appreciated. It's you know, and it does make me feel old at times. I had this guy come up, and I don't know how old he was, but he goes, "Your movie, Part 5, was the first movie I ever saw. I walked in my parents' bedroom, and they were in bed together watching that movie. It's your kill scene it was like burned in his memory. It was like, oh my God." You know, well, you know, I felt like
I was conceived to your decapitation.
I mean, this kid, he was a little kid. And wait a minute, were your parents having sex while watching this?
They were really big fans.
Oh my God. You know, it was just kind of funny. And so it's funny. I've had some people bring the little leather flight caps in for me to autograph to get them off of Amazon.
Oh, really?
That's pretty. I thought that's a cool idea.
Yeah, definitely. Very cool. I also want to give a shout out. I'm wearing their shirt. Coolidge After Midnight for people in Massachusetts. It's in Brookline near Boston. They're doing Friday the 13th marathon, the Murderthon. And it's from midnight Friday the 13th till noon the next day. So it's the first 6 movies on original 35 millimeters. So it's that's really a marathon.
That's a lot of popcorn.
It is, yeah, and a lot of coffee. Just
you gotta have the coffee.
Yeah.
How exciting! That sounds like fun.
Yeah, I went. Me and my friend Annabelle, we go to the Halloween one every year, and it's the same way. It's midnight till noon the next day, and it's a very fun experience.
That sounds great, man. Wish I was there. That'd be a blast.
Yeah, I'll put in a word for you because sometimes
there we go.
Yeah.
Hey, well, maybe next year.
Right.
I'll be asleep by 2, but you know.
My friend Annabelle usually brings a pillow, and if she picks maybe one movie to take a nap during through the 12-hour marathon.
That's a long time, man. That's a long time.
Yeah,
my butt would get sore.
I pace myself. I get up between each movie. I refilm. I drink much coffee, but and then they usually give you a pin at the end. I survive for all the people who stay the whole time. I survived the marathon, which I think is very funny. But yeah,
I don't think I could do it. You know, I flew to Istanbul from Maui. It was 30 hours of between layovers and everything. Right. Man, yeah, no, man, that's too much time sitting. Yeah. You know, that's 12 hours. I've done 12 hours in a car. That's okay.
Yeah. That's real quick though about science fiction, because at that theater I went to see the 50th anniversary restoration of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and there was an older guy sitting next to me, and he told me that he went to see the premiere of the movie at that same theater because the theater's been there since the 30s. And I was like, that's a really cool thing that this guy was there 50 years ago and he came back to the same theater to watch the anniversary.
That's awesome. You probably had to wait in line that long.
Yeah, he's been there. He's never left. He was there the whole time.
Yeah, he was like, wow.
He lives up in the rafters. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
It was very cool, though.
Premieres are exciting. You know, whether it's mine or anybody else's, going to, Star Wars or anything. God, that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to make the interview about me, but so I had the premiere of my first movie a few months ago in LA. Melanie Kinnaman was there, and it was a very cool experience being at the premiere of my movie. I have to admit, it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. So yeah.
What's the name of the film?
The Once and Future Smash. So Melanie Kinnaman, she plays herself in it. A lot of my horror friends play. It's a quote unquote documentary. It's a mockumentary, and so a lot of people I know play themselves in the movie, which it's
cool.
Very fun. Yeah,
that's
probably a lot of people you know.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, you might have been in it if I would have known you at the time.
Damn it! The next one.
The next one. Exactly.
Yeah, the sequel.
Right. All right, this has been very fun. I'm glad we got to do this.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it,
and hope to see you sometime at one of the conventions.
Well, come out to CreepyCon. It's going to be a good one. It's a write-off. Come on, man. Come on out.
All right. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah. No,
No, it does sound fun.
You'd have a blast. All of them are fun. They're all fun.
Yeah.
But thank you, Neal. I greatly appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well.
Yeah. Have a great year, man. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
Many blessings.
Bye.
Take care, brother.
Thank you.
Night.
Night.
We're gonna